hers was on the 12th. Mine's this Sunday. Dressing up, going downtown. Dressing up, going downtown. Yep. I haven't done that for a few years. I used to do it all the time. I don't know when. Oh,
I don't want to see Santa in jail.
no.
Well, maybe that'd be a funny picture.
Bad Santa.
Bad Santa. Did you put that in such big lettering so everybody can see it?
As I've been told several times tonight, it takes a lot of splaining.
Splaining, a lot of splaining.
Send them one up. Thank for the.
Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the East Dubuque City Council meeting. It is Monday, December 15th. I ask that you please turn your cell phones off during the meeting. Please be quiet during discussions. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
(25-1213) call to order.
Bergmeyer.
Here.
Dagenhart.
Here.
Fleur.
Here.
Meyer.
Here.
Roby.
Here.
Taylor.
Here.
Mayor Digman.
Here.
Attorney Hess.
Here.
25-1214 staff reports. City manager report.
Thank you, Mayor. The Cincinnati Avenue water main project is hopefully back on track this week, given the weather. The far end is open. The middle is covered, but in the next day or two, that should be cured and opening up. And the remainder hopefully will be poured this week, weather permitting. I've reached out to the Teamsters Union 2 weeks ago requesting that we begin negotiations on a new contract. The current contract expires April 30th. I'm waiting to hear back from them. The incognito demolition, I have an update since I wrote the manager's report. Today was the deadline that I gave the owners to either demolish the building or apply for a license in order to have an abandoned building, vacant building. And they had removed the asbestos a couple months ago. I'm told that's about a $20,000 project. And they got a demolition permit, and they came by last week to say they were going to come and take it down on schedule. So I got a call this afternoon from a representative of them saying that NICOR has still not come by to take off the gas main, and apparently it's poor form to knock down a brick building when the gas has not been turned off. So we reached a kind of an agreement that I would give them till the end of the year, assuming that NICOR comes in, and if it's not done, then we will basically predate the fines to the 15th. So we're kind of done messing around, but we have had the same kind of delays from NICOR on our building that they're having now. So there is nothing that can be done with that. So we'll keep a communication on that. Last week, several citations went out for vacant buildings whose owners had not applied for a permit to have a vacant building and had not come up with a plan for it or made that building safe. And so we've begun the fining process for them, so we'll keep you appraised on that.
Thank you. As I look out tonight, I noted we're missing somebody that's been a mainstay at all of our city council meetings. Last week, our community lost Ronnie Dix. For as long as I can remember, he's attended every city council meeting. Always was very interested in what was going on, very active throughout the town, keeping an eye on things. Just a great guy, and I just want to say he will be missed. Next thing, I'd like to thank everybody that came out and braved the elements last Saturday for the Edge Chili Crawl. It was a pretty decent turnout considering the temperatures. It was, I followed up with a lot of the bar owners, and they all said that it was, nice little shot in their arm business-wise. So thank you for all those that participated. That's all I have this evening. Alderperson report, Bergmeyer.
Nothing this week, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Degenhart.
I'd like to thank Pam for getting the party organized and everything. It was great, Pam, what you did.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
That's all I got, Mayor.
Thank you. Fleur.
I had a couple people approach me they can't seem to get a hold of the city manager. They've tried, and they've been turned away. Does that sound like anything, Pam, or are you answering phones?
Yeah, we're answering the phones, and we
Yeah.
pass on messages. We get to him as soon as we can. I mean,
Are you collecting phone calls or phone numbers?
yes, and then we pass them. When they give it to us, it's not that most people don't give them to us because they want him right then and there. And unfortunately, he's busy at the time. So
You can get back to them, right?
yes, yeah. I mean, if as soon as we get a phone number, we hand it off. We email it directly to him, give it to him, and then he gets back to him as soon as possible.
Okay. I mean,
Oh no, that's okay.
Almost everybody that comes in, come out and talk to on the spot. So if there's somebody that we missed, I'd like to know who it is. Then we'll happy to talk to them.
well, I'm sure they'll be watching, I think. So,
Okay.
all righty. That's all I have.
Thank you. Meyer.
I don't have anything tonight.
Thank you. Roby.
Yeah, just a little update on the Christmas event we had, not this past weekend, the weekend before. Everything went really well. I just want to thank all the volunteers that came out and helped set up the Christmas decorations and for the event. That's all I have.
Thank you. Taylor.
Nothing tonight.
Thank you. City Attorney Hess.
Nothing to report, Mayor. I'm just sorry I missed the party. I was sick with a sinus infection, so sorry I missed everyone and send my season's greetings tonight.
All right. Police Chief Kovacic.
Good evening. Some of you have reached out regarding what Officer Nate Schuster has been doing last week, so I figured I would let you know. Last week, sometime, I believe it was last Thursday, a gentleman from DeSoto Avenue came in to file a complaint on Joe Carroll Energy for turning off his heat or electricity after November 1. After talking to the gentleman and Officer Schuster was able to contact their attorney, Terry Kurt, along with the secretary from Joe Carroll Energy to come up with a plan for this individual to get his electric turned back on so he would be able to have heat. He fell on some hardship over the summer. His wife passed away, and then he came and was diagnosed with cancer. During that time, he was in and out of the hospital quite a bit with treatments for his cancer, and he fell behind on his bills with Joe Carroll. He started making payments prior to the shutoff date, and he was under the impression that that was sufficient enough to be able to at least keep his electricity on. At that point, it wasn't. At that time, Joe Carroll needed $500 deposit to keep the electricity on. So Officer Schuster came in my office and presented me with these problems that this gentleman is having. Through the work, the people at City Hall, myself, we were able to get his deposit paid for by the Knights of Columbus. I reached out to Jerry Russ. Jerry Russ then reached out to Deacon Schilling, and who reached out to me, and we were able to get that squared away with Joe Carroll through the Knights of Columbus. So I'd like to thank the Knights of Columbus for their generosity in getting the heat back on prior to this polar vortex that we just had over the weekend. That gentleman also took it upon himself to come to City Hall and have the Public Works crew turn off his water on his own, not because he couldn't pay the bill, but he didn't want his pipes to freeze during this cold snap if he wasn't going to be able to have heat. He was frequenting establishments during the day to charge his phone, keep warm, and then at night he would shuffle back to his residence. He was at the hospital a few times during this bout. They were also bringing, the hospital was bringing him food. So at the end of the day, he was able to have heat. I believe he called City Hall and said there was a bunch, he had a bunch of lights on in the house that he didn't realize he had on when the electricity was shut off, so he was very ecstatic about that. Desiree helped with getting his water bill paid for through a Veterans Assistance Program through Galena. So Nate went over and picked him up and came here, and they filled out an application for that. He needed a copy of his DD-214, saying that he was in the military, and his MOS and retire date, or his discharge date. We got a call after hours, actually, I believe, saying from the Veterans Assistance Program in Galena, saying that they were going to pick up that tab for him as well. At that point, Nate asked if he could post this gentleman's story online through a Facebook community group for East Dubuque. I gave him the blessing to do it. He typed up a very nice article, and then it was approved by one of the admins, and the community outreach from there just came pouring in. Our community is great, and they started just wanting to donate. People at City Hall were donating. People in the bars were donating to this gentleman's cause. I believe to date, I just asked Nate this morning when he got off, I believe he's raised around $3,200 for this gentleman, and Nate's goal was $2,000. So I believe what he's going to do now is get with somebody from the Edge group to see if and when they can start making future payments for this individual to give him ahead on his electricity bill. There's a couple mechanic shops in town that had reached out to Nate to get his vehicle working. He's got a power steering pump that's going bad or went bad, and then there was a battery issue, but that battery issue has been solved. All it just needed was a good trickle charge overnight, so now his vehicle is running. Nate was also thinking that with the leftover money, if we wanted to put it towards a program like this for future use, and maybe beg, borrow, and steal somebody from like the Edge Foundation to take that on, in case people wanted to still donate, but donate to a different individual that would be in need at this time of year for a situation like this. So he's going to be working on that. He also thought about making it right with the gentleman and giving him gift cards to say like Hy-Vee or Walmart, so he's just not going to hand them cash. That way we know, and the donors know, that it's going to a good use, that it's going to food and home supplies. So all those things are still being talked to going forward. I've been in contact with the city manager about going forward on a program like this, and we came up with a situation where we get somebody from a nonprofit outside of the police department just to keep transparency clean, I guess. Again, it's a small community. We deal with people in the community, and the last thing we want is somebody to donate to our program and then be mad at us because we write them a ticket. So if it went to another nonprofit, I think that would be the best possible. Sorry. So I think that would be the best place for transparency. Nate's been doing a very good job of keeping track of where the money is going to be coming from and where it's going to be going by keeping a logbook and writing out receipts for people that come in and donate through City Hall. The community outreach through the bar area was great too. Several bar tenders and owners said that they'll like some flyers up, at their establishment and have a donation box. So that was those guys' suggestion. So I believe Nate reached out to Desiree, who's proficient in making flyers and seeing what they can do for him as well. It was very nice. I live in a great community, work in a great community to see that. I mean, I think Nate was in here at 9:30 in the morning, and by 1:30 the power was on at a gentleman's house. And he was pretty emotional. When I went over to Mulgrews to tell him that his lights were on, or his water bill was going to be taken care of from Galena's Veterans Assistance, he said this is a Christmas miracle, that he feels like he should go buy a lottery ticket because he just won the Powerball with this. So makes your feel goods feel pretty good when you're able to do something like that. So I'd like to thank everybody that participated, that helped out, that gave advice, that donated. I'd like to thank Officer Schuster personally for taking this task on. This is exactly what I'm looking for in a police department. And then I'm going to tell you where Nate got this idea from, and it's going to blow your socks off, but it was Sergeant Huseman that drilled this into his brain a couple weeks ago when we had a departmental meeting. He pulled the young guys off to the side and said, hey, there's more to law enforcement in this community than just stopping cars and writing tickets. You guys got to do all these other things too for the community. And Nate actually said, I went home and chewed on that for a couple weeks, and I'm taking Sergeant Huseman's advice on this, and this is what I'd like to start doing. So I'd like to thank Mickey for that, for that advice as well. That's stuff that the veterans are, veteran law enforcement officers such as Mickey with 33, 34 years of experience, that's invaluable. And if it wasn't for Mickey saying something like that, that gentleman would probably still be without power at the end of the day. So there was another incident too with one of the new guys, Andrew. If you guys remember back probably 8, 9, 10 days ago, there was a semi that was broke down on Highway 20 that shut down traffic. The gentleman driving the semi blew an airline to his brakes, so his rear brakes locked up. Andrew was able to somehow MacGyver a way to get the air brakes to work with him walking alongside the semi and the semi driver driving it to get it off the road, so that way traffic can still stay flowing. So, and he credited his military service for that because he was a diesel mechanic in the military. So I'd like to thank Andrew for that publicly, because without that, who knows where we would be. To try to get a tow truck for a semi around here takes hours, 3-4 hours at best. So Highway 20 was opened up in a short time. So yeah, so I just want to let you guys know all the good stuff that's going on with our guys. Despite some of maybe the bad stuff you hear on the street, there's some good stuff that's also happening too. So that's all I have, unless you have any questions for me.
No, that's great.
Perfect. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Luke.
All right. Public Works Director Van Ostrand.
I can't top that.
All right. Fire Chief Heim.
Nothing in there.
All right. Thank you. Moving on, 25-1215, speakers from the floor. There are none noted this evening. Move forward, 25-1216, consent agenda.
Still moved.
Second. Roll call.
Bergmeyer,
Aye.
Dagenhart,
Aye.
Fleur,
Aye.
Meyer, Roby,
Aye.
Taylor.
New business 25-1217, discussion and possible action to approve a resolution for maintenance of streets and highways by municipality under the Illinois Highway Code in the city of East Dubuque.
So this is our annual request to the DOT. And you can see on the second page how it breaks down. Generally, it's always been electrical service and road salt. Last year, there was a significant balance built up in this account, and so we began putting money into streets directly. Pam worked for about 5 months with DOT, and they approved the expenditures on roads. And this year, we calculated it to hopefully spend down the balance. You know, it's a best guess thing because we don't know the revenue that's going to come in. But our best guess is that this is an amount that would bring down and virtually eliminate the essentially surplus that had developed in this account and would put more money into our streets. Any questions? So it's 24,000 for electrical, 13,000 for road salt, because we've got a pretty good stockpile of road salt right now, and 113,000 for streets. And of course, based on the revenue that we take in, we don't have to spend all this at one time. Or if the revenue didn't come in, we wouldn't spend it.
So when it says streets, do they have certain criteria you have to meet?
I don't think they got very specific, but basically we would use it for our resurfacing projects and things like that. If the timing is right, we're trying to kind of squirrel together the money for the ditch project. So this would be, it would be appropriate for it to fund the bridge, the new bridge on Menominee. That would be it. But if it wasn't the bridge, it would be our regular road maintenance, or road improvement.
Question. Is there any way, and maybe it can't, but it's this question. When you're coming into town from 20 west and you're coming by Vans there and how rough it is right there, right before you go up to Hill Street to your house?
Yeah.
Is there any way that could fall into there and we can fix them ruts and them big holes and smooth that out, or does this not fall into the?
That's state
That's
highway.
state highway.
Oh,
But still.
we have to go to the, okay.
So I'm sure they'll do it when they do the bridge.
It'll be done before that.
Sorry.
So do we stick any more money towards this out of our budget, or does it, the street salt?
Oh, no, this is in addition to what we generally spend on streets. Yeah.
Okay.
Can we call anybody from the state to try to get that fixed?
We can try.
Next summer.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Oh, we can, yeah.
Probably know it.
That's bad because you come in and you hit that.
Yeah,
you
you
have a
bounce.
low riding car.
Yeah, you
well, they
bounce.
redid the road and stopped it down there by
Yeah.
Pete's, and why won't they keep going? That's all. That's my.
Okay.
All right, any further questions or discussion? If not, can we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Dagenhart.
Aye.
Fleur,
Aye.
Meyer,
Aye.
Roby,
Aye.
Taylor,
Aye.
Bergmeyer.
Aye.
25-1218, discussion and possible action to approve an ordinance for tax levy year 2026 in the city of East Dubuque.
Okay, you might have noticed the small display up here. For the second year in a row, we're proposing reducing the property tax levy for the city by 5%. And so I want to first frame it out what it is and what it isn't. What it is an actual reduction in the property tax dollars that the city of East Dubuque will take in. So that's the most honest way to declare a property tax reduction, is to do it by the levy, by the amount of money that comes in. If you do it by something else, by the rates or things like that, then you can play around with the numbers because the values could increase and the same rate would bring in more dollars. So this is the most honest way to do it. We are, for the second year in a row, reducing the dollars that the city takes in. Now, that's what it means. What it doesn't mean is that people's property tax bill will necessarily go down, because the city of East Dubuque is only one component of the property tax. The biggest chunk of the property tax is the schools, but then there's also library, the township, the county. There's a number of taxing jurisdictions. You can see them all on your property tax bill. But the rate that that the property tax is set in will be set to take in that many less dollars. So in the actual dollars, the previous year we took in 419,000, and then last year we cut that by 5%, so we took in 398,000, rounding. This number is what we are taking in the current year, and if this is approved tonight, next year we will take in 378,000. So we will go from taking in 2 years, we'll go from taking in $419,000 of dollars to the city of East Dubuque from the property taxpayer, and it'll reduce to 378. So, as I say, this doesn't mean people's property tax bills are going to necessarily go down, because we're only one component, and we are relatively small next to some of the other components. In terms of, so the other way to look at this is you're allowed in Illinois to increase property taxes 5%, basically 4.99, but call it 5. And if we had done what is common in local governments and increased the property tax for those 2 years by 5%, by 4.99%, we would be taxing $461,713. So the amount that we're going to, if this is approved, the amount that we will take in the next year will be $83,567 approximately, less than if we had increased by 5% a year. So instead of increasing by 5%, which is normal for local governments, we've been decreasing by 5%, and you start to get up to numbers that really mean something. So this is, and this is just drilling home the point that we will actually take in from the property tax fewer dollars. The reason I would advocate for this action is that I think that we need to balance. We need that balance. We are trying to pull this city out of a pretty deep hole, and I think we've had great success together in doing that, and we've improved the city's position incredibly. We are paying our way with cash, buying new vehicles, and making a lot of expenditures with cash that used to be made with borrowed money. And we have, so each year the city's financial position is improving. I think that it's reasonable to share a bit of that with the taxpayers. They've had to make great sacrifices, and so this is just a little recognition of that. It's not enough. It's not going to change the world, but where a lot of folks are increasing spending, we're trying to hold things down. Our revenue has been coming in very well, as we talked about in the budget update a few weeks ago, and I think that this is a responsible amount of money. It also prevents, because it's limited to the 4.99% increase per year, when you reduce the amount, you reduce the amount that a future increase could be figured on. So you should be aware that this does limit future taxing ability by the city. And so it's done with that in mind. So it's not a big swing to cut 30% or something like that, which would be irresponsible, but it's also a way to recognize the burden that the property tax puts on people in the city. This is where the numbers are based. You've got most of these, except the last couple of these last two columns. So walking through this, this is the rate broken down by each of the items that we tax for. This is the current rate, and this is the money that it brings in per line. So for fire protection, $19,968 goes from the property tax into the fire department's line. We would propose keeping that the same in the coming year. It obviously doesn't cover the full cost of the fire department, but it is directed toward that. These other lines, this is the retirement line. I'll just kind of walk through the lines. I'll skip the corporate for a moment, but this is the retirement line. And it's with the 5%, we would be increasing this line by $25,000. The reason is that for the year, we're about $36,000 light in this account. Part of that is an increase in the rate for the retirement, which we have to count on for the next year. Part of that is because we got hit with a one-time charge, given some retirements that we had that were more expensive than had been anticipated by the retirement system. So I think this is a reasonable increase in that line to keep covering that. Audit stays pretty much the same. So all these other ones, liability insurance things. So this line is the estimate of what we're going to have for this year. And this is the balance that we have built up over a number of years. So, for instance, liability insurance, we are not increasing it by much, even though it's a little short, because we have a balance there. And so we will, over time, spend down the balance. And so one of our goals is to get these numbers closer to zero. And so each of these lines, playground, so parks, we keep the same. Playground, we had reduced it from about almost $20,000 to $5,000 because we did, I think, $70,000 worth of work last year on all the playgrounds. This year we didn't have very much to do on them, but we still have a large balance to spend down. So we're proposing zeroing that line because then whatever we spend on playgrounds will take down the balance that we have and bring us towards zero on that line. And then same thing for these other lines. So it's a matter of balancing, what the cost is for an individual year and then the ability to bring down a balance or bring up a deficit. So Social Security is in deficit here, so we propose a pretty large increase that over time should fill that deficit. Going back up to the corporate line, this is the general fund tax line, and that's for all these other ones, like the fire department spends a lot more than $19,000, the police department spends more than $19,000. All the rest gets filled in by the general fund. And the general fund has all the general fund taxes, the sales tax, all the other, the liquor licenses, all the other things that the major revenue sources for the city. And we use those dollars to fill in the remainder of these other general fund costs for public works, fire and police, and the city hall costs. So for this year, we're projecting a pretty big balance coming out of the year. Now, this will be reduced by the truck we're buying, for instance, but so what I'm proposing here is shifting some dollars in addition to the reduction of basically $20,000 down here. We're also shifting more dollars into this general fund line. When you put it there, then you can spend it where you need it. When you have it into the individual lines, you're constantly trying to go up and down, and you're creating deficits and surpluses, and you end up balancing those out with the money in the general fund line. So that's probably a lot, but I wanted to go through the thinking that we went through in coming up with these numbers, and to show that we are able to do this. The bottom line is, we will send what's in the resolution that you have. We send the amounts of money that we want to bring in, and as long as this totals up, and then there are some limits on these individual lines that we have to stay within, but as long as this totals up and none of these exceeds the increase that is allowed in that line, they will just figure out what the rate is for that and put together our numbers. Under this, based on the current numbers we have, the tax would go from basically 0.0095 to 0.00911 for the rate that would be applied for the city taxes. So anyway, the bottom line is 5% reduction last year, 5% reduction this year, and getting closer to balanced on the lines that we have, and trying to shift more toward a more useful general fund line. Is that confusing everybody? Any questions? Please ask questions.
Questions or discussion? If not, a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Fleur,
Aye.
Meyer, Roby,
Aye.
Taylor,
Aye.
Bergmeyer,
Aye.
Degenhardt.
25-1219, discussion and possible action to approve purchase of a dump truck in the amount of $67,350. Total cost with dump box will be up to $94,000.
So we discussed this before, and we had a $90,000 number. So one fact is it came in a little bit ahead of that. The other purpose for bringing this was to make a public disclosure that we intend to purchase this truck from a company that employs one of the members of the city council. And that member will not benefit in any way financially from the sale of this truck to the city, but because of maybe I should turn it over to you, Sue, for this.
Yeah, we just wanted to make a full disclosure that even though the member of the city council won't make a commission, he could somehow monetarily benefit from the sale of the truck. And so we're making a full disclosure to the public, and then he'll also abstain from voting on the ordinance.
So this is the proper way to do it if you are doing business with somebody who employs a member of the council. So as we've talked about, this was, I think, far and away the best deal that we found. Tony and I, as we talked about at the last meeting, looked really almost nationwide. We looked at trucks in Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Minnesota, Iowa, and this truck was basically exactly what we need, and it's a year older. It's new, but it's a 23, and so that helped us to get a better deal also. The dump box and things came in a little higher than I think we anticipated, but I think the number that we have is basically about 92,000 when all is said and done on the buying the chassis, and then from a different supplier, we would be buying the dump box and having that put on.
Any questions, discussion?
Don't move there. Toys need to do the work done, or they need the toys to do it with.
I'll second it.
Roll call?
Meyer,
Abstain.
Roby,
Aye.
Taylor,
Aye.
Bergmeyer,
Aye.
Dagenhart, Fleur.
Aye.
Twenty-five 1220, discussion and possible action to approve emergency service building payment number 2 in the amount of $229,053.48 for Tricon General Construction in the city of East Dubuque.
So this, I'll talk mostly about the process. This is the process that comes from Tricon. It goes over to Origin. The numbers get crunched over there to ensure that everything's proper. So this is just what's going to be a monthly process. And this is what we've anticipated in investing the bond money. This will come from the bond.
Any questions or discussion?
I just got a question. I've had a lot of people asking me in the last couple weeks, how come nobody's been working over there? Today there was.
I would say that almost every day they're over there. The electrical is the main one. Electrical contractors from, what's the company? Westfall. You'll see a Westfall truck out there almost every day, but they're working inside. And prior to the cold snap, they had a crew out doing the masonry for the elevator shaft virtually every day. Is it what I'd love to see? I'd love to see people crawling all over it, but there are people there, I think, virtually every day. Maybe not during the below zero, but they're there pretty much every day.
Just thought I'd ask because I was being asked.
Any other questions or discussion? If not, we need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call?
Roby,
Aye.
Taylor,
Aye.
Bergmeyer,
Aye.
Dagenhart, Fleur,
Aye.
Meyer.
25-1221, discussion and possible action to approve IEPA PWSL 17-6365, 17-7079, and City of East Dubuque payment in the amount of $74,829.24 for Louis Trenching, CFPS Incorporated, and Origin Design Pay Application number 4 in the City of East Dubuque.
That's pretty much it. So our Oxford Street project divided out by the various funding sources. Some comes from the water loan, some comes from the sewer loan, and then some is funded by us. And so we'll talk after this about the process going forward to finish up this project.
Any questions or discussion? If not, we have a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Taylor,
Aye.
Bergmeyer,
Aye.
Dagenhart, Fleur,
Aye.
Meyer.
Aye.
Roby,
Aye.
25-1222, discussion and possible action to approve IEPA PWSL 17-6365, 17-7079, change order number 4 for extension to the project completion date to April 30th, 2026 from Louis Trenching Service Incorporated in the city of East Dubuque.
And so you can go up there and you'll see that the project is definitely substantially complete. Water's in and working, sewer's in and working, storm sewer's in and working, the paving's done, the retaining walls are poured, steps are in, all the major stuff is done. There are a few final things that can't be done until spring, really. Some railings and then treating the concrete that's been poured for the retaining walls. And so we had a discussion this week about, do we close out the project and just count on them to come back in the spring and do it, or do we leave the project open because, until they complete those final small items? So we decided that it was more responsible from our part to keep the project open so that we have a little better hook on them to make sure that they're timely coming back.
So they'll put in for one more payment, that what you could say, in keeping it open.
Yep. So the project won't be closed out completely, and they'll still have money on the table.
Any questions? Further discussion? If not, we need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Bergmeyer,
Aye.
Dagenhart,
Aye.
Fleur,
Aye.
Meyer, Roby,
Aye.
Taylor.
25-1223, discussion and possible action to approve IEPA 17-5984 payment in the amount of $204,101.80 for Temperley Excavating and Origin Design Grant Request Number 2 in the city of East Dubuque.
So again, same process. Goes from Temperley into Origin, gets all checked off. Jill matches it against the state funding, and everything is covered by the state grant.
This is for the sewer extension?
Yes.
Any further questions? All right, we have a motion, need a second?
I'll second.
Roll call?
Dagenhart,
Aye.
Fleur,
Aye.
Meyer, Roby,
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
Bergmeyer.
Aye.
25-1224, motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Roll call?
Fleur,
Aye.
Meyer, Roby,
Aye.
Taylor. Bergmeyer,
Aye.
Dagenhart.
We are adjourned.
Sure. Of this
Presentation.
station. Oh, okay. Yeah.